Hello. Exercise with Exos. Today we have we're gonna do 3 rounds today. We're gonna do 50 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest slash transition time. So increasing our time here a little bit. If you have weights and you want to use them, feel free to grab them. If not, we can do it completely body weight. I will definitely be doing it all body weight. So we don't need any equipment, but if you'd like it, feel free. And then I'm gonna go ahead real quick with demos and then we'll get right into the warm-up. So first movement here, so I did kind of switch it up a little bit this week. We're not going to be doing all upper body, then all lower body, and then cardio. We're going to kind of intertwine everything. So first thing here, we're going to do a alternating curtsy lunge with a squat in between. So we're going to start off in the center here. We're stepping back behind diagonal, hips forward into our curtsy lunge, stepping into our squat, and then the other side and squatting in between. So that's going to be our first movement. And then our second movement, we're going to be on the ground. We're going to do a push-up with a shoulder tap. So for this, I like the up and down. I might throw the camera off a little bit, but we're going to do one push-up and then one tap on each side. So we're here, either hands and knees or hands and toes coming into our push-up, and then using our core, keeping it nice and tight and tapping each shoulder one at a time. So that's going to be movement number 2. And then we're gonna stand back up and we're gonna do overhead squat into a reverse lunge. So hands are gonna be over our heads here. If you wanna, again, hold something in your hands for this one, you can do that weighted. And we're gonna do one squat and then a lunge and a lunge. So that's gonna be our second movement. And then we're gonna get back on the ground. We're gonna do plank toe taps. So hands and toes, pushing our hips up, tapping one toe at a time and alternating that way. So that's going to be our fourth movement. And then our last 2, we are going to do more cardio-based movements. So the first one, we're going to do in and out jump squats. So for this, we're going to have our feet closer together for a squat. We're going to jump up, land in our regular stance, and then back into the in and out one. So it's going to be that one. If jumping's not available to you today, you can always do a narrow squat and a regular squat, a narrow squat, and a regular squat. So that's our first cardio movement. And then after that, we're going to do a triple switch into a stability hold. So instead of going into our single leg Romanian deadlift, we're going to be here. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to hold for 3 seconds. And then repeat that on the other side, holding for 3 seconds. So that's going to help us with our hip flexor and core strength. So that's the whole circuit. So like I said, we're going to do 50, 10. But let's go ahead and get warmed up a little bit. Coming to the top of our space for the world's greatest stretch. So interlacing our fingers, grabbing onto one of our knees, pulling our knee towards our chest. And we're going to go ahead, exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands are going to come down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg is going to stay nice and straight. Breathing into our bellies here. We're going to feel this opening up our hips. And we're going to exhale, opening up towards our front leg. Thumb is facing behind us, so we're looking at our palm, getting some nice rotation here. And we're going to exhale, planting outside of our front foot, bringing our back foot a little bit closer, pushing our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers, grabbing onto our other knee, pulling our knee towards our chest. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands are coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg staying nice and straight. Opening up our hips, taking nice big deep breaths here. And we're going to exhale, opening up towards our front leg. Thumb facing behind us, so we're looking at our palm. It's going to help us get a little bit extra rotation in here. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Breathing into our tight areas here. And we're gonna go ahead, exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. All right, now to warm up our upper body a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and make our way onto the ground for some plank to pike here. So finding your way onto your hands and toes, whatever feels the best for you. And from our plank position, let's go ahead, exhale, push our hips up. We can pedal our heels or push our head through our arms, whatever needs the most attention for us today. And back to plank. We're gonna do that 2 more times, coming up. And back to plank. And last one here, coming on up. And when we're ready, we're gonna go ahead and walk our hands towards our feet. And then we're gonna go ahead and push the ground away, stand on up. We are ready to rock and roll. So, like I said, 50-10, we're gonna do 3 rounds. We're starting off with our curtsy lunge with a squat in the middle. Timer is gonna get going here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So, stepping back behind diagonal. So very similar to the reverse lunge, except we are going off to the side. Hips are facing forward. We don't want to go into our squat this way. That's going to put pressure on our quad and our knee. Turn our hips, use our core, and then squatting in the middle. So we're alternating, pushing through our whole foot. I'm going to face this way for a second. Making sure our chest is over our front foot. So that way our weight is a little bit more forward. We're going to feel that more in our glutes. And then to the other side again. So keeping our hips, I don't want to say bend at our hips, but we want our chest to be over our front foot. So we're squatting. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next up, we have push up with a shoulder tap. 3, 2, 1. All right. So we can either be hands and knees or hands and toes. My pro tip here, screw our hands into the ground so our upper back is nice and flat. I'm definitely going for my knees today. So our elbows are coming back. And then really, if you're in on your hands and toes in your plank and your taps, if you're opening your hips up, we want to keep our hips down. So headlights on our hips, flying the ground. If we're having trouble not rocking back and forth, drop down to your knees, practice exhaling, bringing your core together to help practice keep our hips towards the ground. 3, 2, 1. All right. Stand back up. We had an overhead squat into a lunge. 3, 2, 1. These rest periods are going by real quick. So arms above head, making sure we're squeezing through our armpits so our shoulders are not near our ears. Other step of this is if we raise our hands above head and our back arches, that should not be happening. So we want to be able to keep our core engaged here so our back is nice and flat as we squat and as we lunge. So the overhead aspect is really easy to bring our chest forward. We want to keep our form as close to our not overhead form as we can. Driving through our heel, big toe, little toe. 3, 2, 1. All right. That one just really hits the shoulders differently. Okay, next up we have plank 2, pike toe taps. 3, 2, 1. So same thing, screwing our hands into the ground, on our hands and toes, making sure that when we come back to our plank from the pike position here, that we are keeping our hips in line with our head and our heels. Because if we come down too far, it's going to put pressure on our low back. We're going to lose our core engagement as well. Exhaling, bringing our core together as we push up. Again, we're working our shoulders, but also our single arm stability here, just like with our plank taps, which is always important for our shoulder health. 3, 2, 1. All right. Gonna go ahead. Moving on into cardio. We have in and out jump squats. 3, 2, 1. So again, we're starting with our feet. They are not touching. They are just generally very close together. So we're coming in, popping out, and back. So we're not going any really wider than hip width. We're not going any narrower than like a quarter of the way in. So if that way it looks the same. And again, if jumping is not available to you, you can just do squats this way and going in and out that way. If you're doing the non-jumping version, you can come a little bit closer to give it that narrow squat feel, if that's what feels comfortable. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next up, triple switch with a hold. 3, 2, 1. So we're here. 1, 2, 3. We're holding 2, 3, and then hold 2, 3. So you might feel it in your hip flexors a little bit more. That's okay. That's the goal here. Hip tightness sometimes is not, or hip pain or tightness is not always because we need to stretch more, but because they're a little bit weaker. So it's going to help strengthen them a little bit more, also help us use our core a little bit more, and then our balance and stability for one leg. So that's our goal. Those are our goals here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. That's it for round 1. We're going to do that 2 more times through. So we're starting off curtsy lunges. 3, 2, 1. I don't know if I did that one right. Okay. So back behind diagonal. Hips are forward. And then if you really want this to really feel like fire in your glutes, don't stand all the way up. So as we come into our curtsy lunge and into our squat, if you notice, I'm not fully standing up. I'm kind of going maybe 3/4 of the way up. That's going to keep the tension on your glutes. And when we want strength and a little bit of muscle growth, it's about the time we have the muscle under the tension. So if we don't fully stand up, we're going to be able to recruit more fibers here. 3, 2, 1 to help with our increasing our time under tension. All right, back on the ground. Push up. 3, 2, 1. Now push up into shoulder tap here. Again, if you are finding yourself what's it called, rotating, drop to your knees and then work your way up to strengthening your core and your shoulders to not rotate. The other important thing here for our push-ups, hands are starting directly below our shoulders. We're bringing our hands down to the top of the bottom of the rib cage. I know that sounds counterintuitive. So right before the ribs tail down, pushing back up. That's going to be our chest action here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, overhead squat to lunge. We're getting ready. 3, 2, 1. Hands overhead, butt to the belly button, core zips up nice and tight. Hands overhead, feet hip width apart. It does help, as always, to exhale as we're pushing the ground away, because that's going to help us engage our core when we need it most. So a lot of times, especially with squats and overhead squats, I see a lot of coming up first with our butt and using our back a little bit. If we exhale, it's going to help us use our core to keep our low back nice and flat here. So that's the goal. Pushing through our whole foot. 3, 2, 1. All right. Plank toe taps next. And then we got cardio. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Getting ready in our plank position. Our core is engaged. We're breathing through our straw, making sure our hips are not going below the line between our head and our heels. We should be here. Don't want to be here. Going to put the pressure on our back. So if you feel yourself doing that, take a second, reset, drop to the ground here, and then come back up. Awesome job. Keep pushing. It's been a while since we've done 50 seconds. 3, 2, 1. It feels like forever. Just kidding. Okay. In and out jump squats. 3, 2, 1. So starting in, jumping out, and back in and out and in. That's gonna get really annoying, I know. Just like with our regular squats as well, our knees are coming past the second toe as we jump in and out. So I'm gonna switch over to the non-jumping version because that is not feeling so good on my hips today. So we're just gonna not do that. And that's not to say that this version smells also feeling like fire in my legs. The 50 seconds does feel a little bit longer though. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Triple switch with our pause here. 3, 2, 1. All right. 1, 2, 3. Holding for 3. If you want to hold it for a little bit longer to really work on that, feel free. Also, if jumping is really not doing it for you today, you can always do like a slow march and hold. So you can always do that for low impact to still work on strengthening your core and your hip flexors. So whatever feels better for you today, that's what I would like you to do, because you're still getting the same work out of the movement, just a little bit less cardio, and that's okay. Whoops. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last round coming on up. We got curtsy lunge into a squat. 3, 2, 1. Coming again back behind diagonal. Hips are forward. Knee right over the second toe. Chest over the arch of our front foot. Keep the constant tension if you would like to. Wow. This is really starting to feel like fire on my legs. It's a good sign. It means we're working hard. Finishing strong here though. Last round. Keep pushing. Be careful of the hardwood there. I did. Before I started, moving like this, it was really cold in here, so hence the fuzzy socks. 3, 2, 1. You gotta be cozy when you're cold. Okay, done with that. We got push-ups. Last round of push-ups. 3, 2, 1. One last note about push-ups. We are following our pattern here. Really important to make sure our elbows are nice and close. So I want us to imagine our push-up is the same as when we open a door. We open the door this way. We're not opening doors this way. So our elbows should not be parallel with our shoulders. We want about 45 degrees, if not closer. It doesn't have to be a full tricep push-up, but just enough that we aren't putting pressure on our joints and we're really using our chest here today. Great job. 3, 2, 1. Okay, done with those. We got overhead squat and lunge. 3, 2, 1. It's crazy that extra 5 seconds of rest really helps because I feel very out of breath going from movement to movement. I swear I do cardio 5 times a week outside of this. It just doesn't sound like it. Just because moving and talking, I usually only say this with burpees, but today it's getting to me. I think I've never taught before. We're doing good. Good day. The sun is shining. We have lots of greenery coming back. 3, 2, 1. It's almost time for my favorite time of year. All right, we got plank toe taps, and then we're on to cardio. 3, 2, 1. Okay. But no, I love springtime because we usually do get a little bit of rain, but that's also when the colors are nice and pink and white and bright. And to me, it signals new beginnings, new challenges, new goals, all of that, like a time of rebirth, kind of like the sunrise. I love sunrises. It signals a new day, a new opportunity to show up better than the day before. So going into the rest of the week, rest of today, new beginnings, new challenges. 3, 2, 1. It's almost fitting because we are going into a new fiscal year in 2 weeks. All right, jump squats. 3, 2, 1. Or if you're not jumping, we're doing more squats. Good thing I don't squat at the gym. I don't know if my legs could take that today. We're doing great though. Lots of leg work in this workout. And then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do our triple switch with stability. And then we're going to cool down on the ground. We are going to get some figure 4 in. So we have lots of leg things. Great job. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Triple switch. And then we're on the ground. And then it's nap time. Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Maybe I'm not kidding. Maybe I'm going to go take a nap after this. Just kidding. No, I'm not. I'll be making our Slack posts, getting ready for our next challenge. I know we got basketball coming up. And then we're going to do a heart health challenge. More information coming your way later on today, along with registration and all of that opening on Monday. So if you're on the newsletter, all that information will be fully launching on Monday with more to come. The 3, 2, 1, and that is it for today's circuit. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. Like I said, we're going to be on the ground. Whoops. On our backs. Or some figure 4. 2. Making our way downtown. Faces pass. Just kidding. We're not going to sing that song. Okay. Feet on the ground. We're going to go ahead and take one ankle, crossing it over the opposite knee. And if that tension feels good, you can go ahead and stay there. You need a little extra tension. We're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers. We want to grab either in the middle of the hamstring. I know I always say behind the knee. I do not literally mean behind the knee. We're going to grab the middle of the hamstring. That's going to have a little bit more support. We can end up bothering our knee by grabbing up that high. So grab in the middle of your hamstring or in front of your shin, pulling towards your chest. I said chin. Definitely not our chin. And we're slowing our breath down in through the nose, exhaling, sighing away our tension through the mouth. Let your body sink into the ground. It's a great time to do a little bit of a mindset reset as well. Just kind of let your brain and your mind relax, focus on your breath. Really just sigh away the tension in your body here. And we're going to do one more breath. And as we exhale, we can gently bring our foot to the ground. And then the other foot. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So left ankle above the right knee. If that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. We can go ahead and interlace our fingers in the middle of our hamstring or in front of our shin and pull our knee towards our chest. You might notice that maybe it feels a little bit tighter on one side than the other side. That's completely normal. Each side is not always going to be even in terms of muscle tightness and strength as well. But it can also be a good indicator of maybe if one hip is tighter than the other of, maybe it could lead to some imbalances in terms of shifting your weight to one side when you do 2-leg squats, things like that. So it's always good to make mental notes. So that way we can kind of work to fix it. So if you're noticing any of that and you feel it in the workouts, let me know. We can come up with a way to kind of balance all that out. But we're de-stressing here. We're going to do one more breath. And as we exhale, we can gently release our feet back to the ground. And feel free to stay lying on your back or return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that is going to be all the time for today. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully we got a good workout in. I know that was tiring on my legs, so hopefully that was a good one. But thank you for joining me. Have a great day.